Hey ladies, how you guys doing again?
I'm like disappearing. Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. I don't think I had you down for the Hank
You can listen
Johnson
in. It's interesting.
at 2 o'clock. Did I? You couldn't make that one?
Oh, I saw that the date and time was changed, right?
Okay, good. All right. I want to make sure that you saw that one.
Yeah, that works for me. So
Yeah, Evelyn, his administrative assistant, had emailed about 20 minutes ago. Hey, Priscilla. But 20 minutes ago, and asked for that change because it sounds like he wants to participate in the meeting.
oh, that's really great.
So
Mhm.
we'll pick up his
And so we still never heard anything from Carolyn Bordeaux's people.
that is correct. That is correct.
You're muted.
Is it Hank Johnson that wants to come?
Yeah, it
Who is
sounded
it
like Hank Johnson just rescheduled for Friday, 12:30.
What time?
12:30. You have the invite in your
Gotcha.
and it sounds like he wants to participate. And he usually does. Whenever we do visit DC, he is usually there to meet with us. So kind of nice. This one is going to be Stephen Parker, and going back and forth with him quite a bit during the elections. So. I know
Hey,
you.
Amelia.
Hi, Eddie.
Hello.
You look great.
Oh, thank you.
I noticed I don't have any makeup because I've been out today wearing a mask, and I guess that's life, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens. I'm just in my house and had time, so I put on some makeup.
Good for you.
For those that had said they would be here, what dude is the only one, and she had a house full of kids today, so she may or may not come by.
How was this morning's meeting?
It went okay. It went okay. This was with Sanford Bishop, and he's already, somewhat pro arts and has good positions. He's on one of the two caucuses already. He's on the STEAM caucus, so we're gonna try to get him on the arts caucus.
So you're sending us the sign up form for STEAM caucus and the arts caucus. That's how the congressperson would sign up, is by filling out that form.
That is correct.
Okay, that's not for us to fill out.
No.
I don't get to go sit on the caucus.
No.
Darn.
I didn't think so, but I thought, oh, well, maybe this is different from what I thought it was.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
I got the email for Representative Johnson for later today, but I cannot be at that meeting.
Well, that's okay, because if you got that email just a few minutes ago, that was actually now rescheduled for Friday. So if you can make it, great.
Okay.
If you cannot, I understand.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't make it on Friday. Sorry.
We also picked up Jessica out of C4, so should be able to attend Friday meetings. Right now, working with the one of the platforms that we have access to, this Bill Track 50. Anybody can sign up for free. In our case, we use it to integrate into the website. Oops, hold on. This is Patrick. Sure. Hey, how are you guys? Yeah. I had sent him a Zoom link. Is he able still to dial in? Sure. Just 1 second here. Let me grab the. I wish it was, but no. Just 1 second here. Were you copied on any of the prior emails, by chance? Yep. What's the?
We have a cat.
address?
Yay. Kitty on the screen.
Well, actually, we have communicated in the past somehow. Yeah, yeah. You had your, oh, sorry, was it elect John or now is it different? Awesome. Right. Oh, sorry. You did say that. Sorry. NOBIA_HAYNES.
It's a pretty calico. So pretty.
Calicos are usually very tender. I don't have to
My roommate's cat. She's very sweet.
My friend where I'm sitting in his office to get on the internet said, calicos are usually very tender. You don't have to braise them for very long. My experience is that calicos are little Machiavellian animals.
So
They want to rule the world. Pinky.
I used to hate cats. My mom is very allergic. So we always had dogs. My roommate started living with this cat. Oh my gosh. And now she's great. I love her.
They are wonderful sources of entertainment.
so are the Republicans.
My friend just said, so are Republicans.
Hey, Zenobia, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you, Patrick? Nice to be here.
Good. So Stephen will be here in a few.
Yes, he will be here in just a few minutes. So I'll just be here initially, and then Stephen will come and we'll both be on.
Yeah, I don't know what we had emailed about before last year, but you were not on my speed dial. No offense, but it's not a bad thing. You were not on my speed dial like Stephen was, constantly pestering him for a variety of things. I work with the Chatham County Democratic Committee.
Right.
But we were always in communication, trying to get more signs, events, more signs, platform, more signs. So, we were very happy with what we could do down here in Charlotte County.
Yes.
For both now senators, so it was fantastic.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much.
So you were on the campaign with now Senator Ossoff.
Yes.
What's your background? Since John knows your background, but we don't.
I'll give you guys a quick rundown. My name is Zenobia Haynes. I was previously on the campaign with the senator as deputy political director, so working right under Stephen. And now I am on the official side as his field rep for Northwest Georgia and the Metro Atlanta area. So yeah, it's on the field rep side now.
So both of you are still kind of in the state, and so in this case, we're having a conversation today. And do you ever find yourself in DC, in the DC office?
Not as yet, but in the future, most likely. Maybe back and forth, but based in Georgia here.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of us have been doing this every year for, I don't know, the last decade or so. And one of the great things this year is that, the scheduled meetings with the senators are going to be a pleasure.
Yes.
Often, Isaacson would always come out for the photo op. And he was kind of who was it, that somebody I knew from GPB, he was a closet supporter.
That's great.
He was a closet supporter.
I only hear great things about his office. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was okay with me in his office because he got it, they got it. But the other office for, he who should not be named, completely unpleasant. It was, it really was the feeling that we're wasting their time. We never met with the senator, only their staff, and
yeah.
no.
I'm sorry about
But
that.
I do
Well,
know that,
yeah,
and Steve knows this part already, but about a year ago in January, I had reached out to the campaign, wanting to help write a platform for the campaign to get it pushed out there. It never was able to materialize, but we were able to get the Mass Senator to complete a questionnaire so we could give that to Americans for the Arts and the Arts Action Fund, where they were able to make a, I think a fair contribution from their pack to the campaign. So we had that going in favor of Americans for the Arts. The We're Not campaign, we had a little Christmas present where he had a nice video message with his position on supporting the arts. So perhaps someday we'll get that, probably during the next election cycle. But I know, and I'll share with the others here that he is pro arts. He has that background already. I think his wife is too. Is that correct?
If she's for the arts.
Well, she's working in a creative field, didn't she? Oh, she's a
She's a
doctor.
doctor. Yeah, she's a doctor.
It's somebody else, sorry.
May I name drop? My daughter was a classmate of her, Alicia, and had always the nicest things to say about her.
Oh,
I know. My daughter wasn't a big leader at Padea, but I'm grateful for the education she got there, and didn't always have super nice things to say a lot about a lot of people. But Alicia was just a really super nice person.
awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sorry, Priscilla, go right ahead. I just cut you off.
I'm sorry?
I just wanted to name drop that my daughter was a classmate of Alicia's, and that she's really actually a really, really nice person.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for Stephen, maybe a couple things. Let me go ahead and have the folks here introduce themselves. And I know Abby has some information about her organization and how it's benefited. And I'm going to save the best for last for Jordan. So Abby, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Abby. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Sorry, I'm not.
We lost your audio, Abby. We're going to go back to Abby. She'll get that fixed. Hey, Amelia, how about we'll start with you then.
Hi, my name's Amelia. I am from Tucker, so the 6th district. I actually was at Ossoff's first campaign trail with John Lewis. That was a really amazing experience to be there and hear both of them speak. I am a dance major. I'm graduating in May. I'm in school in Virginia, so I'm coming in from Fairfax, Virginia, zooming in right now. And then I also began an arts advocacy organization on our campus to help bring awareness to the importance of funding for the arts and all the things that entails on the federal and state levels. So thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you so much, Amelia. I appreciate you for being here.
Priscilla?
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time with us. I'm Priscilla Smith. I'm a performing artist and producer and urbanist and former candidate for State House. My daughter's a classmate of Alicia's. I've been one of those big mouth activist women from Georgia with Heather and all those people for a long time, and am incredibly happy with John's election to the Senate and his recent work with saving the 2,900 jobs or whatever it was in Covington. That was freaking amazing. I think I got the wrong city. Was it Conyers or Covington? Anyway.
Commerce, Georgia.
Commerce. On the right direction. Actually, Commerce is north, I guess. Anyway, And I'm so grateful to have somebody whose background I know as well as I know as John's, and know that he's standing up for all the right things all the time. And boy, it makes being an activist a lot easier.
Mhm.
Thank you.
for what you-
Dana and Jordan?
Hi, my name is Dana. Thanks for meeting with us. I am an arts educator. I develop performing artists and coach creatives. And a lot of my students work in film and TV. They've been booking shows on Nickelodeon, Disney Plus, HBO, things like that. And one thing I've noticed during the pandemic specifically is that a lot of the students and families have really been relying on their arts training as a lifeline for their mental health during this time, which has, I've had to really up my game for that, just to try to address those issues. And I just realized that if there was more funding, more resources, we could really make a bigger impact for our communities and our families.
Right.
So, I'm just glad to be here to advocate for things like that.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being here.
And this is my daughter, Jordan.
Hi, my name is Jordan Rice. I'm 18 years old. I have been acting, singing, and dancing since I was like out of the womb. I started working professionally in film and TV when I was 11 years old. And I've been doing a lot of the films and TV shows I've been doing have been in Georgia, but some have been also out of the state. I am a member of the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta, which is a musical theater company that has been around for 30 years. I've been a member for 10 of those 30. And recently I've been named a nominee for the U.S. Presidential Scholars and the Arts for 2021. There is only 60 arts nominees in the nation and only one in the state of Georgia, and that one is me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to be here and talk about arts advocacy and why we needed to continue the funding for people like me, so that this arts training can continue, that we can really develop Georgia into the hub that it is for the arts.
Yeah. Abby, how you doing there?
All right, everyone's picture is frozen, but can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Great. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Abby. My internet likes to fight me on a daily basis, apparently. But I've been advocating for the arts at the federal level for about 3 years now. And my background is in theater, and I currently work for Savannah Music Festival, and I'm on the board with Patrick for Georgians for the Arts. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Great. Thank you, Abby.
Well, there's Stephen Parker.
May I
Hey.
offer my mea culpa? I got caught in a meeting and I thought Zenobia had my link to join, and then I joined as soon as I got done. Guys, I'm so sorry. I
Not
owe
a problem
somebody
at all.
something. Yeah. All
Not a
right.
problem at all.
Okay.
And Stephen, after a year of going back and forth, it's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Same here. Yeah, same here,
Pleasure.
Patrick. Good.
I think the most important thing I was mentioning to Zenobia was that this year we participate in Arts Advocacy Week every year. It's usually a day. We're usually in DC, make the rounds to all the offices. And in most years in the past, meeting with the senators was very unpleasant.
Unpleasant. Yeah.
Very unpleasant.
Okay.
And it's a massive relief for what we were all able to do with the election. And now that we have senators representing Georgia for both parts, it's just like it was a dream come true. But yeah, so every year we do trek to DC. This year, of course, it's virtual, but we do want to sit down with folks to kind of bring you up to date on a few of those major policy items that may be of great interest to you all, and of course to us at the same time. I sent you a second email. It's an official invite, but I wanted to do that was because in the invite, there were just a few attachments. Your office, probably the DC office, has already received a hard copy of the legislative handbook. It's going to be your first legislative handbook from, Arts Advocacy Week, Arts Action Fund. It is chock full of facts, figures, and data behind almost every policy issue that impacts arts and culture. It is a handbook that is not particularly for the faint of heart, but once you get through it, it's like, wow, that's a lot of information.
Okay.
Within that, or next to that, was it's a 2-pager, basically a summary of what the handbook contains, thematic area that is. Also, it's a little outdated. The Bureau of Economic Analysis and the NEA a few years ago teamed up their resources here and put together. It's also a 2-sheet fact sheet to highlight the number of arts organizations as well as the number of workers in the state of Georgia, just to get some perspective on that. And the last attachment, again, it's dense, full of information, but it's only a 2-pager. It's why the arts matter in Georgia. Now, in the last year, when the CARES Act was passed, they had allocated or appropriated additional $30 million to the NEA. 40% of that went to state agencies. Georgia received about $510,000 of this CARES Act. And just to put some things in perspective, and this is where I want Abby to come in next with her perspective on this, is with that $510,000 during, I think, the time period from, let's say, the official announcement that we are in pandemic mode, we need to be thinking about this, through the deadline, which is late May. 172 Georgian arts organizations applied for some funding. They self-reported that they were going to be facing a loss of about $39.5 million. Pretty significant. That being said, every business is looking for additional support. And you can probably imagine that once we come out of pandemic mode, arts and culture is arguably going to be the very last to recover. We may not even be there when it ends. Many organizations will not be there when it ends. A lot of them are on life support right now, and right now hoping for the best. A lot of furloughs, of course, free performances just to keep people, motivated, ongoing. But I want to bring Abby on board because of her affiliation with the Savannah Music Festival.
Yeah, that's me. Hi. So Music Festival, with the pandemic and the Georgia lockdown, we had to cancel our festival and close our offices just about 2 weeks before our 2020 festival was slated to start. And if you don't know, normally that's a 17-day festival with about 100 artists, bringing in a lot of economic growth to the community of Savannah. A lot of hospitality industries are bolstered by the music festival year to year. So that was shut down about 2 weeks before it was slated to start. And then with that, I was a part-time employee. I was laid off just in order to save finances, keep the organization alive. And so we were, through the course of 2020 and the CARES Act, we did receive CARES Act funding from the NEA and then from South Arts as well. And PPP1, that funding went towards our managing director salary, and she handles all artist logistics, including contract processing, production database management.
Uh-oh.
Oh, get back at it. Nope, we lost her again. She's
Okay.
having connectivity issues. Bottom line is, she's employed again. And many of them were able to keep going. And just for reference, I mentioned that $39.5 million music festival, especially at the time period that all this happened, had self-reported a loss of $735,000,
Mhm.
which is over half their budget.
Right. And Patrick, if I may, now that I can hear y'all again, sorry. So right now our overhead is down about 40%, and for through fiscal year 23, which would be June 30 of 2022 to July 1 of 23, we're estimating to just keep earned income and donated income down. Right now our goal is about $1 million lower than it would be for fiscal year 19, which was our last normal fiscal year. And we're striving, we're coming back at the end of May with a smaller season, but we've been pretty hard hit.
Yeah, that's just one.
Mhm.
But Stephen, there's two avenues, to any of these asks. One's always going to be money, other one's policy. I think in lieu of trying to say, hey, give us more money, some more support for the NEA, of course, we'll give it to the state GCA, arts education, arts in the military, arts and juvenile justice, arts and health. There's pretty much, I think, three primary things that we would like to, suggest. The first one, now that there are two pro-arts senators in Georgia, I think for the first time since it was founded, or at least over the last couple of decades, we haven't seen any senators joining the cultural caucus.
Okay.
And it would be thrilling for us to see both senators do just that. It would, I think, really inspire the arts and cultural workers here in the state.
Okay.
The two other things, and these are a little more complicated because the legislation that has been proposed, I think has, and you probably know this better now, from your vantage point. A lot of it has been introduced and it's died and keeps on getting reintroduced and it continues to die again. But there's two issues that have been in discussion for a number of years now and does have some support. They just can't get enough traction. One is the what I call the STAR Act. The STAR Act right now is
The STAR Act.
STAR, yes. It's the Saving Transit Arts Resources. Right now, the last iteration of that was HR 3437. If this $2 trillion infrastructure bill gets approved, about 600 million of it is going towards transportation infrastructure. Of the $600 million on its own for any project, or paired up with state transit money, county transit money, city transit money, not one dime of that money can be spent on anything art unless it comes from the architect. And it cannot include any non-functioning landscaping. Does this sound weird? Yes. How it got passed, really no one understands that. It got thrown in and no one read it when they voted on the bill a number of years ago. Bottom line is, any sort of creativity outside of what the architect says cannot be included. So basically, we have the possibility of seeing a lot of very Soviet-esque type projects coming down the pipeline. if that $600 million does get allocated to transit, it would be nice to have this legislation turned around and the 34, 37 approved so that we can have something that is going to be more aesthetically pleasing and give our creative jobs at the same time.
Okay.
A lot of detail in that legislative handbook that I provided, including some of the history. I will also keep tabs on that bill progress and keep you updated if that's okay with you.
No, it is. And I think what's going to be helpful so that I really have and I think you're in the middle of your asks, so pardon the interruption, but at the conclusion of this, sort of having a summary of your asks from your perspective, that'll be very handy, because what I typically do, we've take a lot of meetings with a lot of folks with various legislative priorities, and this is the time to do it. So the time is right to sort of get in before we get so busy, and then just the timing of everything. This is the time. So I'm grateful because I get an education about issues that I may know something about, and then I meet with a group like you, and I have an appreciation 2, 3, 4 levels in or down. So this is very helpful. And once I conclude meetings like this, I ask for clarification on the asks, and I loop in my legislative director so that it gets on her radar screen, which then becomes a topic of discussion to get on the senator's radar screen. So that's just typically how this works. So these are very helpful for me.
I will,
And I'm taking notes, by the way, as we're talking, but that would be helpful, Patrick.
Awesome, not a problem at all. I will take care of that for you. So that's one policy-driven ask. The other one right now, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but when a Senate, when proposed legislation comes to the Senate, if it does gain traction and it dies, is the bill number reassigned, or does it stay the same?
Yeah, I'm not certain about that. I don't know the answer to that right off.
Because there were a couple of bills. One is supposed to be Senate Bill 650, but it doesn't connect. Its sister bill is House Bill 1519. That bill is affectionately known as the CREATE Act, and that is the comprehensive resources for entrepreneurs in the arts to transform. Basically, the essence of it is proposed legislation allows artists and arts organizations, not-for-profit arts organizations, to be recognized as small businesses, unlocking all of the resources that any other small business would have access to. Were it not for a pandemic, most of the resources the FBA provides, for example, would not be available for Savannah Music Festival. So this will move that in that direction. And it's more than just the SBA, but it would be in part to direct the SBA to recognize these, even the sole proprietor, which is, they make a living at it. This is their job. It gives them those the access to resources and to the financing as any other business would. So again, that's a policy thing. That one there is probably going to be reintroduced, at least in the House. It'd be great to have some leadership in the Senate. Senator Udall, who I think retired last year, yeah, I think it was last year, was the original sponsor of that bill. So we'll look for some new leadership on that one. And I'll send you more information to give you the specifics, so it's a bit easier.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful.
And there are lots of other items that we could discuss, but I don't think we need to sell you, and I don't think we need to sell the senator.
Yeah, this is not a hard sell. I won't even characterize it as a soft sell. I mean, it's just, it's important. And knowing your priorities is what is the key to me. I need to know what to take to our folks to say, hey, here are the 3 pieces of legislation or concepts that the group is advocating for. How can we help make it happen?
Yeah. Well, we'll keep you informed of that. And if there are other asks we need to have in the future, we'll not be shy. But I think right now with the state of things, job creation, this infrastructure bill, and of course, some leadership from Georgia on the cultural caucus would all be most appreciated.
Okay. Yeah.
And then some very light reading, being the legislative handbook, full of the facts and figures. It will either keep you excited about what all this means, or it might cure some sort of insomnia that you suffer from. Not sure which way.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that we can help with at this time in terms of providing whatever you need?
No, the most critical is identifying the legislation that you want, you'd like to see us support. Got your request about joining the Cultural Caucus, and just anything that whatever your asks are the things that are most critical for me. And you've provided enough background information for our office. So I think that's it, but just knowing what your priorities are and sort of any other support you have for them.
Awesome. Cool. Anybody else have anything we need to communicate? Oh, so
It's just a little statistic. I'm putting it in the chat. In 1984, non-defense spending of every dollar in non-defense spending, 11 cents on the dollar went to the National Endowment for the Arts. It's 3 cents on the dollar now. And 30 years, almost 30 years later, and we see all the cultural needs that we have and the possibilities for what art and culture can do for unifying our people. I think even though we have all these other important asks and we're not spending a lot of time saying, oh, we need to spend more money at the National Endowment, we really need to spend more money at the National Endowment. And 3 cents versus 11 cents is massive. Thanks for listening.
Yep, absolutely.
You bring up a good point, Priscilla, that I forgot to mention. This is a state level issue, but it is impacted by the NDA funding. But just as a reference, NEA 3 cents. Georgia is number 1 for being last in per capita funding for arts and culture. It's been 14 cents, and Georgia, claims itself to be the Hollywood of the South. We have work to do on that front. But again, having 2 senators, and hopefully we'll get more representatives on board with all this, it will be a clear sign that things are changing a bit. So,
good. Yep, agreed.
You have my number. I have your number. I will get you what you're asking for in terms of the specifics to make it easier to forward on to the DC office.
That's right.
But I think, just thank you for your time today. Really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And
thank y'all for making the time. My apologies again for not making that handoff, getting here late, but a pleasure to meet with y'all. And yeah, Patrick, we will stay in touch. I'll look for your email and I'll acknowledge it when I get it and follow up with any questions that I have to y'all.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.